Welcome once again. It's another great week, and we are so glad to be with you once again. My name is David Njuguna, a director in Davasha Photography and also a photographer. And I'm really glad to come to you once another Monday. In this time of COVID-19 and quarantine and all that, we want to reach you right where you are and be able to share some insights that are helpful, even as you consider, photography as one of the hobbies, as one of the things that you can actually do, even right now, from right where you are. So most welcome, and today we'll be looking at quite a bit, and I just hope that we'll make it to finish in an hour. The first thing we'll be looking at in our photography news, we'll look at the trends of the camera phone. Okay, of the phone camera, sorry, the trends of the phone camera. And we'll try and see what advances is the phone camera actually being able to make, over this time, and then we will compare that a little bit with the camera, and then we'll move to our main agenda where we'll be discussing actually photography as a hobby. I know we as professionals many times really want to push it to the edge and just talk about the professional stuff, but I thought it's really nice to be able to have a conversation with every one of you, every listener that will be listening to this, whether now or later, and you can always pick up this conversation with us, write to us, comment, like, follow us, and you can always pick this conversation even if you watch this video post this time. So once again, most welcome, and just join us. We are live on Facebook, Davasha Photos, and also on YouTube, Davasha Photography. Feel free to send your comments or questions about anything that we'll be talking about today, or anything photography in general. We would love to hear from you. We would love to learn from you as well, as we all edify one another. So today's reflection questions would be, as you can see on your screen, what is your opinion on the technology advances on the phone camera seemingly going ahead of the camera? Yeah, I want to hear what are your thoughts, what is your take about this? Recently we've seen a lot of advances which we will go into, and we will discuss those advances, on the phone camera. And we just want to compare what's your take on that. So kindly do write to us, whether on Facebook or YouTube, and we will discuss those questions after the presentation today. Then the second question we want to discuss with you today is, have you considered photography as a hobby, and what is your experience with this? We want to know, what do you understand by taking photography as a hobby? And this, we actually want to know it from both the perspective, of those who've been doing it as well as those who've not done it, so that then we have quite a nice and all-inclusive discussion today. Our question number 3 that you need to reflect and possibly write on this live show is it possible for a professional photographer also to practice photography as a hobby? Quite an important one right there. I know many professional photographers may have begun as a hobby and then they moved professional, but can we still, as professional photographers, really practice photography and as a hobby, and what does that mean? So I want to hear your views on that as well. Kindly do write. And the last thing we'll be looking at, the last question I would like to hear from you about is, how did you like today's session? Okay, this you can write, after we are almost at the end of the session. What topics would you like us to handle in the future? We really want to know what kind of things our audience would like us to discuss about, so that then we are able to align and reach you just in the area that you really need us to. So these are the reflection questions for today, and I really need you to come with me even as we go and look at the few things that we'll be looking at today about phone camera and the advances that the phone camera is making. So Um, it is written 2020 smartphone camera trends you should watch out for. Okay, and then I was also able to look at another blog right here, which is also entitled as what to expect from a smartphone camera in 2020. We want to interrogate a little bit what is changing in these cameras. You know, a few years back, photography was only being done from a camera, not from any other device. If you wanted to take a photo, you know, you really had to get a camera. But today we are seeing things are changing. We've seen in the recent past many photos. In fact, statistics are saying that, you know, in the last 10 years, more photos have been taken with phones than with cameras. And I think this informs why we see more intention on looking at how phones are actually evolving the capability for cameras. I was just reading the other day a study from the US, and they were actually saying that majority 86% of the people in the United States would buy a phone based on the camera, on how good the camera is. That means even if we are professional or we are hobbyist, you know, we must pay attention to this. We cannot put a blind eye to what is happening to the phone camera. So let's dive right into it and see what is happening. And the first thing we see is that resolution is continuing to increase. We know many professional cameras today still has a resolution of about 24, 36, 48, 50, you know, thereabout, you know, even 18 megapixel. But we are seeing the phones are also advancing in resolution in terms of megapixel. We are seeing phones that are going up to 40 megapixels, like the Huawei P20 Pro. You know, we are seeing phones that are going beyond that, up to 64 megapixel. We are even seeing some amazing phones going all the way up to 108 megapixel. And I understand that technology is underway to produce phones that will give you even 200 megapixel in terms of resolution. So what does that mean? That means very soon, you know, we'll be able to actually take nice photos with our phones and even print them, even large prints to hang on the walls. That's all what it means about megapixel. It means now we can go large prints, you know, with the phone photography. So this is a really good news, particularly for those of us who may actually be practicing photography as a hobby. Amazing. Look at that, 144 megapixel right there, 200 megapixel. All this coming with a special processor right there, Snapdragon 865 processor, which would be fast enough to process these photos, you know, without any further delay. So that is really, really amazing. And you know, if you're using your phone in photography, this is a very good news. If you haven't bought a camera also, you know, there's something to think about. Yeah, apparently the cost of such kind of phones is close to that of a camera. So the question is, you know, should you really buy the phone or should you buy the camera? You know, we know many places the camera is restricted. You can't go with it this and such a place. But the phone, in most places, you would go with. So as a hobby, I think this is a really serious consideration on whether we go the phone way or we go the camera way. The next thing we are seeing right there is that the camera's autofocus is improving and becoming much faster and more accurate, you know. So you can read about that, you know, that the technology that they are developing to make sure that, you know, the camera's autofocus is more accurate. So you can have a live autofocus just like you would do on a mirrorless camera, and you can be able to follow your subject with it. If you're shooting a video, you can as well be able, you know, to do very good autofocus even if you're actually shooting fast moving subjects. So that's all they're talking about there. For those who are doing video, some good news here. Phones camera is actually now able to give you 8K and even super slow motion. Yeah, so we are looking at 8K, as a capability that is right now available on phones. And what does that mean? That just means that many more hobbyists out there are actually able to make great videos, slow motion, looking at capability of 960 frames per second. I know that may not mean so much to a layman who may not get this, but for anyone who understands the frames rate per second, that just means you can do super slow motion. And this is just amazing. The phone technology is just moving to another level. We have something they are calling artificial intelligence, and this is where the phone is actually able to think. It's actually able to interpret the scene and actually able to make sure that whether it is dark, whether you have backlighting, whether it is very bright, or however the scene is, it's actually able to use what they are calling computational photography. And this all software. It's actually able to calculate what the scene needs and to make the necessary adjustments upfront. And as you take the photo, it's actually able to get you to generate for you a photo that is accurately beautiful in all aspects, including exposure, focus, depth of field, even dynamic range, and every other thing. So that is something that you really need to check out there, computational photography. And what I have actually seen is that the power of the smartphone is actually moving towards, empowering the software. You get. Whereas in the professional cameras, we have concentrated more on trying to make sure that the hardware is really amazing with all these control knobs around it, etc., and that optical zoom right there. We are seeing the technical capability of the phone is not moving too much on the hardware. It's actually moving too much on the software. And this is very fundamental because perhaps the future might be more on software than on hardware. So it's a really great challenge to our camera manufacturer. We need to see you thinking more on the software. We need to have the same capability like is on the phones, that I can take my photo with my DSLR and right there I can click on one click and it's on my Facebook page, it's on my Instagram page. That technology, we need it because the trends in the world, truth be spoken, what is happening is that we are moving towards, an instant gratification kind of a lifestyle where people need things instant. We have instant coffee. We have instant photos today and videos that you can take and share with your loved ones. And that is how the world is going today. It is perfect information. If something happens in the US right now, in the next few seconds, we already know about it. So we need to see our camera manufacturers actually empowering us with these same capabilities in our cameras, because otherwise then the debate on whether to go phone or camera remains a big question. We are seeing that the phone camera is also going super zoom. I know in the past we've had the digital zoom versus the optical zoom in the cameras. And definitely the more you have zoomed in your phone, the more you have lost quality. But we are seeing more interesting technology emerging that now you can zoom even up to 10 times without losing on your resolution with that new technology that they're advancing there, just to mimic the optical kind of zoom in the cameras. And this is really amazing. And so by all means, we are seeing people being able to take pretty much decent photos, with their phones, just the same way you would actually do with your cameras. And this is just amazing. And as a professional photographers, it is also really nice as we interrogate on whether we can actually be able to also do photography as a hobby, to also look at phone photography. Apparently, I have seen many competitions now, photography competitions, have a special window for phone photography. And I've seen many amazing phone photos win competitions. And this is just mind-boggling. So it is a subject that we really need to look at. It is something that we cannot put a blind eye to, because it's all about camera, it's all about photography, empowering everybody out there, to just be able to do it, to just be able to take on photography. So that is it from our news desk today. Kindly check out these articles and these kinds of topic. Read about the periscope zoom available. I have seen even in terms of the accessories, they are actually microscopic, USB plugins, for the phones, and it's amazing. There is a lot going on with the phone camera, and this is just worth it. So we will take a short break at this point, and when I am back, we will come and now interrogate photography as a hobby. That is it that I had for you today on Photography News, just to bring to your attention the much advancement that the phones are actually making in terms of camera capability, some even going ahead of some of our DSLRs. And this is amazing news for most of us right there. So let's take a short break, and when I'm back, we'll now look at the topic that we really need to look at. Very good. So just have this short video as we take a break and enjoy. I'll join you shortly.
So after high school, that period when you don't know like before joining uni, and you just have a lot of time on your hands. Yeah, so I decided then that I wanted to take photos. I just knew I wanted to take photos. I got a DSLR and I noticed I don't know how to use it, and I wanted to be able to take photos. I wanted to be able to look at a photograph and dissect it and know how this photograph was taken. I went to YouTube and to Google. I didn't get much help there because it's such a broad field. I decided I'll go to school, and I looked up a bunch of photography schools, and I said, okay, why not try out Davasha? I joined, and I liked that it was basically starting from scratch, the basics of what is a camera, those weird questions that you start with in Form 1, like what is biology? I loved that it basically structured all this content that was all over the place into a curriculum that you could follow. I wouldn't say it's challenging, but I'd say if you're looking to waste time, that's not the place for you. I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for Davasha. And yeah, it just basically broadens your horizons like a lot, and it's very comprehensive in terms of the learning.
So welcome back, and today is a great day. We are looking at photography as a hobby. So as we do that, I want to repeat the reflective questions that I need you to be able to write so that we can discuss, and the questions are right in front of you. As you can see, what is your opinion on the technology advances on the phone camera, seemingly going ahead of the actual cameras, okay? And have you considered photography as a hobby, and what is your experience with this? Number 3, is it possible for a professional photographer also to practice photography as a hobby? And number 4, how did you like this show today, and what would you like us to improve? So I encourage you, I have seen many of you have already joined us. I encourage you to write on this so that as we finish our presentation, we are able to come back and actually deliberate on any one of these. And we don't want to leave your views out. Your views are as important, as definitely our views are also to you. So I want to go right away into looking at today's presentation, which we have prepared for you. and we are right there with the presentation. So this is the presentation that we are talking today about photography hobbyist. Are you a professional photographer? Are you a photography hobbyist? This is for you, and let's deliberate and see where we both meet and what we can do. And at this point, I want to point out that most of the photos, actually almost all the photos, other than perhaps the wedding photos that are in this presentation, all the other photos, I have taken them when I am on hobby mode, when I am not on the professional mode, when I'm not on the job. Even the photo right in front of your screen, I didn't take it as part of my work. I took it as a hobby. I was just in the flight and I realized this beautiful scene, and guess what? I went all out for it, because I believe photography is something that we live. It is not just something that we do, but it is actually something that we live, because it is all about our vision. It is all about how we see the world. And believe you me, I know Mr. Crown has told us that if you like it, crown it. But I think beyond crowning it, I think you actually need to preserve it. And this is what photography is all about. So welcome so much for this presentation, and let's kick on and move together. So what is a hobby? And I checked many dictionaries on this. I liked the explanation from the Wikipedia, and Wikipedia tells us that a hobby is a regular activity done for enjoyment, typically during one's leisure time, not professionally and not for pay. Okay, that is what Wikipedia tells us. Meaning what? Meaning it's actually something you do when you have some free time. It's actually something that you enjoy doing. It's actually something that brings pleasure, to you, and that's really what I want us to look, and I want to interest you today, by the end of this presentation, to actually consider photography as one of your hobbies. Okay, very good. Let's move on. Okay, why is photography the best hobby for everybody? This is a very interesting topic, and as I try to check out this topic, I realized even the Forbes magazine, which is a very respected magazine world over, has actually written about this, and they actually wrote an article which they entitled "Photography is one of the best hobbies for anyone to engage in." So today, as I bring you this as well, I really hope that by the end of this, I will have encouraged you to consider photography, as one of the things you can do. Number one, photography is something that you can do anywhere, anytime. Okay, you can do it anytime, anywhere you are. You don't need to make so much preparations. If today you are to go and do mountain climbing, you really need to do a lot of preparation. If today you are to go and do skiing, you need a lot of preparation. If you are to go and do ice skating, you really need to know and learn a few things. But for photography, any one of us has been empowered today. All you need, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are with, is just to take out your phone and you're able to make great memories. So that is my reason number one, appealing to you to consider photography, because gone are the days that we used to, you must have a camera to do it right. No, 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 no. Times have changed, and they are changing even more. So today, anytime, anywhere we are, many of us have that capacity in our phones to be able to enjoy and take memories and make history as well. Number two, we are seeing there is no pressure for special equipment upgrade for someone who is doing it as a hobby. You can do it at your own pace. You can do it with what you have. At the professional level, things are different. It's not leisure anymore. You really have to make sure that you are able to meet the demands of your clients. If you are shooting video and you're shooting on HD, your clients need 4K. You have to upgrade to 4K. Your clients need 8K. You don't have a choice. Whether you have 10 cameras already, you have to make the leap. So there is quite a bit of pressure. But we see on the side of hobby, you can actually do with what you have, and that will be good enough, and you can start your journey there and enjoy photography with your loved ones. Another reason right there, keep memories of places you visit. Any one of us once in a while, whether it's a country or it's a holiday or it's a friend you visit, etc. Any one of us once in a while moves to a new destination temporarily or permanently. And it's just amazing to be able to capture memories that would remind you, of where you've been. The photo you see in front of you right now, this is Lake Victoria. I know you don't see like it's a lake, it looks like it's a garden, but this is Lake Victoria, inhabited by water hyacinth. All you see in this photograph, green, like grass, is actually water hyacinth. We happened to just visit Kisumu, with family over one of the holidays, and we found the lake couldn't be seen as a lake. It was like a field. So I took this photo just to remember about the impact of water hyacinth. The other time I went, they had all been cleared away by the wind and they have moved to another side. So it's actually really good to actually keep a record on the places you go. This was another amazing friend of ours. We had visited some farms in Kericho, and it was such an awesome night with the moon all out and bright, and it was really amazing, and we took this photo just to remember this place. We spent also one of our Christmas, and it's a really amazing place. Today we are not able to access it because it's a private farm, but we have photos that can remind us, this awesome friend who hosted us, and we were with her and her family over that time, and that is really, really an amazing photograph here. So the other reason is that only photograph what you love. Only photograph what you love. As a hobbyist, you actually have the luxury to choose what to photograph. You see, as a professional, sometimes you go by the demands of your client. Your client needs you to take this kind of shot. Perhaps it has to fit in what your client really wants to see. But as a hobbyist, you have the leeway to say, what? If I am all out for nature and wildlife, let me go for it. I don't have to, meddle around weddings and meddle around many other things, This is possible for a hobbyist, and that just means a hobbyist, you have a lot of choice with you. And we are living in a world that really people really want to make choices. And there it goes. The first choice is that you can actually decide what to take and what not to take, as a hobbyist. Okay? Right there, another reason why you need to consider photography as a hobby. Journalize your kids' journey in life. And when they grow up, they treasure these moments. The photo in front of you is my firstborn daughter, and this I took when she was just 3 years old. Today she's 11 years old, and this is an amazing smile that I love looking at, and she loves looking at it, and she appreciates how much she has grown, and just keeping that, moment alive, just those eyes. Amazing meaning to me as a father. Yeah. So this is also my other daughter, when she was just 12 hours old. 12 hours old, just 12 hours old, still in the hospital bed, and today, amazingly, she's 8 years old. Amazing. Just a really good memory just to remember, and I didn't have to carry lots of tons of lighting and everything. I just went with a very simple, just a camera, without any much accessories, because this time it was not all out doing it professional, etc., and impressing. It was just about getting the moment, and there it is. So if you are a parent out there, it's a high time that you really document this moment for your children. If they will treasure these moments very, very much. So right there is my 8-year-old. This time she was about 6 years old on this photo on the right, and on this other photograph I think she was about 2.5 years old right there. So again, really great memories that I have, and all this not taken with professional gear, all this taken with a very basic entry-level camera without much fussy accessories, just with a pop-up flash like anyone else would do, for a hobby, Very good. So my next photo there, now these are my 3 children right here popping out of a window. And here I write, a good snapshot keeps a moment from running away. I mean, this photo may not mean much to anyone else who sees out there, but believe you me, to me and to my children, my 3 children right here, it means a ton of things, a ton of memories, really much appreciation. So you find photography is something that you can really have fun around as a family. These are quote from Eudora Welty, and this is what he said, and that is a remarkable, remarkable thing to imagine that even a snapshot, not that well calculated photograph, is as good to keep the memory from running away. Very nice there. Then we have right there again some other amazing photos. This is my firstborn daughter again just winning that race there in school, and what a moment. Again, not for pay, but just to preserve these precious moments, just to inspire my children again, just to keep moving on and keep taking on the challenges in their lives. And when the going gets hard, you can draw these photos and you come and talk to them, and the photos will talk to them and remind them, wait, I'm born for winning. I'm born for this. I'm capable of this and that. And this is really amazing. So again, another reason right there. So the other reason why you need to consider photography as a hobby is moments with family, friends, and special people. In life, we meet many people, and once in a while, we have this amazing time together, and it's always good to remember that time with people. So this part of my family right there, right in the house, even right now, as we are on a COVID-19 quarantine period, you can still get a photo with your family right there. Whether you'll decide to wear masks or not, at least you can be with your family and you can remember those memories. So that is something special you can do today, and would love you to share with us those photos. Okay. These are another photo of some friends here just encouraging their friend, on a baby bump, that kind of thing right there. And now this is another amazing photo. I don't know what you see about this photo, but I'd like to hear your comments. I don't know if you've seen this kind of dressed people. It's amazing. So we just happened to be in a place, where we were graced, by the British government in an amazing way. And pop, right there we thought, wow, why not preserve such a moment? Such a moment, doesn't knock on your doors every single day. So it's really worth preserving. So that's me right there, and my lovely wife with these 2 wonderful British soldiers. Amazing photograph right there. So what are we talking about? We are talking about reasons why you really need to consider photography as a hobby. Again, life's milestone. Documenting your own life's milestone. The photos don't have to look the same as the photo in front of you, but we all have these milestones. You know, we all may be graduating from this course or the other. We all may be moving from this phase of life to another. Those are milestones that you need to remember, and you need to celebrate yourself. You know, every other milestone that you actually are able to come through life, because life is, you know, they say you only live once, and so it is important to celebrate yourself and celebrate the milestones that you're able to achieve. You know, that's a very intimate photo right there. You know, just that tender hand of that young little baby on the hand of the mother, and that is just mind blowing. Why not preserve such memories? You can shoot with your phone, you can upload your photos on Google Drive or other cloud backups, and you won't have to lose them. And even now, with the better resolution on the phone cameras, you can even print and put up frames in your house, and it will give you amazing memories. You know, so right there, again, just to appreciate how much these small kids you've seen have grown. Now right there is where they are, 11, 10, and 8, and that's my wife right there, and it's amazing. So I want to leave you with this quote as we wind up this presentation, that you never know what you can do until you try. You never know what you can do until you try. This is a saying that was said by William Cobbett right there. And I want to encourage you, because even many of the professional photographers, we started as hobby. I began my photography at 9 years. At 9 years, there is no business that I was doing, really. It was all hobby. And now I've been professionally doing it only for 8 years, by the way. It's not a whole lot of years, just 8 years. But because of the hobby element, it enabled me to get much deeper. And that's what we are talking about. So definitely, I really want to see your comments. You know, I'll take you back to studio, and I really want to see your comments on this, because definitely we've been at it together, going through this amazing presentation, and I want to hear what you have for us. I've seen many people have joined us, and I just want to acknowledge all of you who have joined us. Martin Wanja right there, Carlson, Mr. Carlson, David, you've joined us, Dietrich right there, Kimsley, we've not seen you for a while, welcome back, and we are really glad. We have Dennis right there, you know, we have Slave, Queen Vaji again, once again right there, and Flavian. Very good. So let me see who is joining us also, and the comments on the YouTube as well, and then we will dive into that. So let's look at the questions and what you have written. I see Mr. Dietrich right there. He's saying there are many advances that have and are still being made day and night. My opinion is that these are good technologies because they make the experience easier with no major skill required. But my only concern is they might take away the creativity of many, because the phone camera is so advanced and literally does everything. I appreciate the technologies, but I love the creativity bit more. Very nice input right there, Mr. Dietrich. I agree with you, but you know what? I think I see the younger generation being actually more creative. So the fact that they are more digital natives, it doesn't kill the creativity. I think the creativity is just shifting from one type of creativity to a new threshold of creativity. And more creativity now, I think, is moving towards the post-production, because again, the softwares are really powerful and able to do so much in terms of processing the images, and recovering anything that you may need to recover to make it look great. So I agree with you, Mr. Dietrich, and right there, that's a really good question. So just to remind our viewers, on the questions that we are actually reflecting on, kindly let me know, have you done photography as a hobby? What's your experience with that? is it possible for a professional photographer to actually do photography also as a hobby? And this also can apply to a videographer as well. Let me hear your comments on that, and also to know how you like this session and what you'd like us to discuss in the coming future. So that is very good. Let's continue to see what's happening right here. Wamboi Ngugi, karibu sana. And then we see another comment right there from Mr. Naftali. And you're saying, I think these technologies are good because they are inspiring people to develop a hobby in photography and video. And there are times all you have is a phone with you. And with photography, moments really matter. And probably the only equipment you have with you there is your phone. Yeah, that is so true. So you're saying, so a good phone that is technically updated is a plus, because it can save you and enable you to take really good photos that you would have missed if you were to run for a camera. That is true. And I find most of the people, actually, if you forgot your phone at home, you are likely to go back for it or send a rider to pick it for you, for that matter. But perhaps if you're not going for a commercial shoot and you forgot your camera, you would as well continue with your journey and use your phone. So actually, the phones seem to be taking a more primary role today in the world of photography. And I think that's why they're actually concentrating more on the phone camera. Google are also doing their inventions on this, and it's amazing the kind of technology that is coming out. And I really want to hear about the hobby as well. Mr. Naftali is saying, I am considering to do photography both as a hobby and as a professional, because a hobby is basically doing what you love. I agree with you, and I don't think we really need to stop doing it out of passion and love once we go pro. I still think there is a lot of room, even for us professionals, to actually still keep photography as our closest loved hobby, because I find sometimes it's actually those photos that you took as a hobby that will actually win that competition. Why? Because perhaps, they are more candid. Perhaps, you have all the rights to those photos, etc. Many, many reasons to that. Let me look at your comments right there, Queen Virgie. I see Mr. Ngero there, you're saying, wow, I love those memories and how they have been preserved from a hobby. Very good, very good. Flavian there, you're saying, a phone camera technology is definitely advancing at a very high rate. Phone camera can do what the digital camera can do, or even better. But of course, there are pros and cons to every side. That is very true. Definitely, there are pros and cons to every side. And I don't think as yet I would go to, to a shoot, a professional shoot with a phone. I would still take my camera with me. But, definitely it is a subject that we have to keep discussing and see where we can all leverage. Okay, another comment right there. It is much possible to practice photography both as a hobby and a professional. That is Flavian saying that. And she's continuing to say, I am guessing before one becomes a professional, he or she must have tried it as a hobby to realize, oh, I can actually advance this to another level. That's very true right there, Flavian, and I really appreciate too. That's my experience. As I said, I began my hobby in photography just at 9 years back home, doing nothing else, only shooting my brothers and sisters' birthdays and my parents and church and all that. Little did I know that many more decades and years later, I would actually take it up as a professional and be able to impact many, many people. So that is really, really much appreciated right there, Flavian. Then Mr. Ngeru, you're saying, how does one know their hobby? Asking for sibling here. Okay, sorry. How does one know their hobby? Asking for a sibling here. Does someone have only one hobby? Okay, I don't think you have only one hobby. I think you know your hobby by seeing what you really would love to do in your spare time. When you're not working, what would you do? For example, right now most of us are just at home, and we can't go for our normal shoots, no more weddings, no more corporate events, no much happening right now, and the question is, would I not touch that camera right now, until I go back to my normal business? Or would I still wake up and feel inspired today by a certain Bible verse and take my camera and create something and share with the world and share hope with the world? So definitely, I think that is a really valid one right there. Let me see what's going on the side of YouTube, and I have Naftali there say we are tuned in, and that is really, really great. So definitely, we are headed towards, the few last minutes of this broadcast, and I would love to hear your comments on this. Let me know if you have actually practiced photography as a hobby. Let me know, how it has been for you. And, those are the questions that we are actually reflecting on today as we take on this. We have dived much into the first question. We've seen the technologies that are advancing on the camera phone, and also we have looked at now photography as a hobby. We have looked at some of the reasons, and I have shared with you many of my very private moments with my family that I have taken not as profession but as hobby. And just to encourage you, that also on the photography awards that I have won, I think most of the photos that I have submitted have actually been photos that I have taken as a hobby right there. So check out these questions and do let me know what you think as we look into the last few minutes of this session. And I see another comment coming in right there from Martin Wanja, and you're saying you have great memories, well treasured. Thank you for sharing this. It will impact many people to start taking photography as a hobby to create great and more memories. And I cannot agree with you, Martin, much more, because what you have said is the position. I actually read an article last week which says that a photography is also therapeutic. That actually, as you get involved in the whole process of taking photos, and looking and trying this angle and trying the other angle, that actually it kind of really helps your mind with getting creative. It kind of helps your mind, with relaxing, and keeping off stress. So I think it's actually a really good thing, even right now, in the comfort of your home or your compound or your homestead or wherever you are with your loved ones or with your children. It's a really good thing. Why don't you just give your children a camera for a day and just wait and see what they'll come up with? I've realized lately that my children really are able to plug in with a lot of positive comments and influence, and even to help me even prepare these presentations. So it's just amazing how much photography is. So my take is that photography is something we live. It is not just something we do. It is actually something we live. Okay? So another comment right there from Mr. Naftali, and you're saying, what's your advice to parents? Because many have neglected the hobbies of their children, deeming them as time wastage. Very good question there. So my advice to parents is that, you need to support your children in what they love. You don't have to invest in a 200,000 worth camera. You can just give them your old phone that you're not using anymore, even without a SIM card, that would be able to help them access internet and all that, if that's the fear you have. And I know that's a genuine concern for many parents, me included. But I would advise you, just to give them that phone and just put a memory card right there and let them take photos of themselves. Let them show you in the evening all that they took, and just start discovering, if your kids are talented in music, by all means, just encourage them. We've seen many world stars who just started their singing right at home, and I think our homes are meant to be the place that we nurture each other, the place that we really get that motivation and that extra oomph and that extra push for life. I think our homes are actually meant for that. When you go out there and the whole world has battered you left, right, and center, you come back home and you just need to be in an environment at home that will actually encourage you, that will actually help you to move to your next level. So I think by all means, parents, even over this time, let us encourage our children to try some photography at home, just see what they can do. Perhaps not all of them would take it up as a hobby, but you just never know how far this might go. So this is really great. I hope I've not shut down any particular comment from any one of you right there. I really would not want to shut you down. So I just hope that I've really been able to answer most of your questions. Mr. Kimsley Carsley, right there, you're saying, I love taking photos as a hobby. The only way to freeze a moment is through photography. You could also preserve the photos for future reference. Maybe make a scrapbook or a slideshow. That is very true, Mr. Kimsley. I mean, there is so much we can do with photography. And you know what? I just want to bring to your attention that actually photography has become a language. Like you have French, you have Chinese, you have English, you have Swahili. Photography is a global language because photos are shared across the world. And when you see the photo, as they say, a photo is worth more than 1,000 words. You're able to feel the emotion. You're able to understand the situation. You're able to actually go your mind in context and be able to see the scene and imagine and be able to understand the intensity of what is being communicated, much more than words can do. So I think photography is a language. And actually, we need to learn this global language because it cuts across all the barriers of culture, all the barriers of our native languages. It cuts across. I can look at a photo done by a Chinese. I would like it. It would inspire me. A photo done by a Briton, a photo done by an African, a Nigerian right there, etc. And photography is a common language that all of us need to embrace. So I'm really glad that you joined us today. I want to remind you that on Wednesday we are here again. Our head of video, he'll be coming back again to share with us more about video. And then on Friday again, we are at it again with Asha, our head of business here, who is actually able to come and still help us to get more inspired about entrepreneurship. So it's really amazing to see all these nice comments. We have moved the show this week to 2 p.m. We want to hear from you. Is it working for you 2 p.m. or should we still have it at 11 a.m.? We really would like to hear from you. So it's been an amazing experience hosting you and answering your questions and just seeing what you have to say. Now we are live both on Facebook at Davasha Photos and on YouTube at Davasha Photography. So I invite you also to like our pages. Please go there on YouTube and follow us, check out our videos, like our work, and encourage us to continue coming to you. So we are really, really glad that you joined us. And as we come to the end of this broadcast, I just want to wish you a really good week. Today being a Monday, just have a really nice week. And I really would love to see what you are able to do at home there, what your children are able to do from home right there with your phone or with your camera. I'd like to see that. If you came in a bit late, this recording is still available, for you. And if you find this recording on the internet and you watch and you think it's great, do write to us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what topics you would like us to tackle in the future. Let us know, what you really want us to talk about. So that is really great. And I'm so glad, Phyllis Karanja, thank you for joining us. We're just about to wind up this, but we really appreciate you joining us. You can watch this video even after we are gone off. Susan, again, very much welcome. Thank you for joining us. It has been a great moment. So as we wind up this show, I just want you to watch another small video just to show you a bit of what we do here in photography. We do a lot of training. We've been training for the last 7 years, and it's been great. We've brought up many professionals who are actually doing great business right out there. So just to share with you a small video, on our training, and thereafter, you have a wonderful and blessed time. So really much appreciated, and may God bless you, and have a nice time, and see you on Wednesday as we do our video show. God bless you, and bye.
So after high school, that period when you don't know what, like before joining uni, and you just have a lot of time on your hands. Yeah, so I decided then that I wanted to take photos. I just knew I wanted to take photos. I got a DSLR and I noticed I don't know how to use it, and I wanted to be able to take photos. I wanted to be able to look at a photograph and dissect it and know how this photograph was taken. I went to YouTube and to Google. I didn't get much help there because it's such a broad field. I decided I'll go to school, and I looked up a bunch of photography schools, and I said, okay, why not try out Davasha? I joined, and I liked that it was basically starting from scratch, the basics of what is a camera, those weird questions that you start with in Form 1, like what is biology? I loved that it basically structured all this content that was all over the place into a curriculum that you could follow. I wouldn't say it's challenging, but I'd say if you're looking to waste time, that's not the place for you. I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for Davasha. And yeah, it just basically broadens your horizons like a lot, and it's very comprehensive in terms of the learning.